When we were in Los Angeles recently, we had the privilege of attending a reception for the Matthew Perry Estate Auction. This is an auction that benefited the Matthew Perry Foundation, and it was hosted by Heritage Auctions there in Beverly Hills. Now, we had seen these items online, the items up for bid, but to see them in person was just amazing. It was very touching to see these things that were so important to Matthew Perry in his life. There were lots of photos included, but also different items from his Hollywood career, obviously, including the Scrubs episode that he directed. There were VHS tapes, lots and lots of scripts up for auction as well. Now, I'm a huge fan of the TV show Friends, but I'm also a fan of the actor Matthew Perry himself. So some of his personal effects were especially interesting to see, like his wallet that still had his SAG card, or his Batman cufflinks. You know, he was a huge fan of Batman. It was especially poignant to see these personal items that had meant so much to him. This Dark Knight Rises watch, by the way, sold for $21,250. Of course, I'm a big Friends fan, so the Friends items really drew my eye, like these custom bobbleheads of all 6 characters. Pretty cool. The People's Choice Award there, some handwritten notes about Chandler, the character Chandler. Really neat to see all these specific items related to the character that Matthew Perry played, including scripts from the pilot back when the show was known as 6 of 1 instead of its new name, Friends. Here we have a note from Marta Kaufman, one of the producers of Friends, to Matthew. And of course, there were lots of scripts up for auction, some autographed, some not. More awards that he won during his career. Kids' Choice Award there is interesting to see. All kinds of items from his personal collection included in the auction. Scripts, photos, of course, but also his high school diploma back there. Interesting. He was part of an Odd Couple reboot. Kind of cool to see the original Odd Couple autograph photo back there, Jack Klugman, Tony Randall, as well as a script from the new show. More awards. This autograph from Schwimmer, this was actually a scrapbook that David Schwimmer made for the cast, full of photos from their time together on the show, Friends. Really interesting to see. And, you know, all of this is cool to see and so impressive, but also so very sad. What a life he lived, and how tragic that it ended so soon. This pilot script, autographed by the cast members, it ended up going for $52,500. And then there's this script from the finale episode, $93,750. Matthew was a big tennis player, so that's represented here. He was very good. So he had some Jimmy Connors items, part of his collection as well. Video games that were part of Matthew Perry's collection were up for auction too, including this Nintendo GameCube console, which ended up selling for $2,437. And then 34 games, many of them unopened, unused, sold for $3,750. In this case, we see a lot of specialty items, many of which were gifts from the cast and crew. So specialized items that only a select few ever would have seen from the run of the series Friends, from the 10 years the show was on. And down here we have the Fools Rush In script, and also a script from Mad About You, an episode of Mad About You. They had a photo of his custom ping pong table, customized with the Batman logo there. So that was fun to see the photo of it. And he was also a dual citizen of the U.S. and Canada. So as any good Canadian would, he had quite a collection of hockey equipment too. And the Batman stuff. Sometimes he called himself Matman. But yeah, lots of Batman items that he had collected that were up for auction too. Interesting that of his clothing items, they really didn't sell for as much as you would think. Like $2,750 for a suit, $1,500 for a sport jacket. I mean, a lot of money, but not as much as I would have thought. This item, however, this prop that Jimmy Kimmel's team made for Matthew Perry, ended up going for $5,000. So it was just kind of a gimmick prize that Kimmel had given Matthew when he appeared on his show. But yeah, it auctioned off for $5,000. Pretty amazing collectible to have. Really incredible to see all these items, especially some of his personal favorites, like some of his favorite books when he was a kid, especially the Velveteen Rabbit. He famously loved that book when he was a child, even had his Velveteen Rabbit toy from when he was little. And I think that's part of what makes this all so very sad, is to see that he wasn't just a character on TV. Matthew Perry was a real-life human who had lots and lots of struggles, brought a lot of joy to the world. But even in this sad time, now that he's gone, he's still doing good through his foundation.
Matthew meant many things to the world. He made us laugh, he built connections across generations, and he used his voice to stand up for people who are struggling with an addiction. I should memorize, but I cannot. Those who knew him best also knew that his life included a long and challenging journey of recovery. Matthew wrote and spoke about his journey very bravely, not for sympathy, but to offer hope to people and remind them they were not alone. The items you'll see tonight reflect the things that brought Matthew joy and inspiration. His art, his beloved Batman collection, tennis, hockey, and moments from an extraordinary career in film, theater, and television that connected him to millions worldwide. They represent a life in which he never stopped trying to turn struggle into purpose. That's what tonight is about. Through this auction, we carry forward the work that mattered the most to Matthew. He didn't want to be remembered for Chandler. He wants to be remembered as someone who helped people. Our work informs the mission of the foundation, expanding access to care, investing in recovery, and challenging the stigma that keeps so many people who need help from reaching out. Every item purchased here makes our work possible. Thank you for joining us, being part of our community, and helping us to continue the work that meant so much to Matthew.